So I think I've just gone through maybe one of the worst PC building periods of my life, and it got so bad that I literally nearly gave up with everything to do with building PCs. I wanted to launch this thing so hard out of my window and just wash my hands with it. But I didn't, and quite frankly, I didn't want it getting the better of me. Just to warn you, a story is incoming, though you can click the chapter below to move forward to the new specs and the benchmarks if you don't want to hear my story. So it all started back in early September, where I made this video where I built a mid-range PC using some old parts I had laying about from this other video and a 3060 Ti that I bought on eBay. This PC worked, I made a new video, and really everything was well. However, things didn't end there. This is where the problems really started. Well, one problem. One big problem. As I was running a few benchmarks to get my eBay listing sorted, the PC powered down all by itself. And I thought, okay, no problem. Let's get it switched back on. This kind of thing happens from time to time. I thought it was just a normal PC crash and I didn't think much of it. So I get back to the desktop, I'll fire up Counter-Strike 2 again as I needed to benchmark it for my listing. And again, the PC powered down during the original splash screen. And this is where I thought, I'm in trouble. First, I looked at the event viewer and I saw that there was a kernel power 41 event error. Okay, I Googled it. What does it mean? Now it means that the PC isn't getting enough power. Fine, I get that. I did some research on 12 volt rails, and the power supply that I had, admittedly not a great one to begin with, had a tiny 12 volt rail, and this meant that the PC was literally on the power cusp, if you will. So I did what any PC builder would do, and I changed out the power supply to get myself a more reliable Corsair one. When it arrived, I plugged it in, got it set up, got back to the desktop, but it didn't work again. Powered down exactly the same when launching Counter-Strike 2. So we're back, 650 watt power supply, as you can see, CV650. Mouse and keyboard. We're on the TV. Launching Counter-Strike. Play. Uh-oh. Let's see what happens, because now we've got a much larger 12 volt rail, which goes up to 640 something watts. Let's see if it falls over. Now, if it falls over this time, it might be a BIOS update thing. It's hanging on this valve for a little while. Oh. We are going, but very... I've got sound. We're still on. We are in. And we're dead. So we got further that time, but we are still dead. I then noticed that my M.2 SSD was literally at 100% load constantly ever since launching to the desktop, so I got myself a new one. It helped somewhat, and my SSD is fine now, but the same thing happened, the PC powered down. So next I changed my processor to a 5600 and my motherboard to an Eagle B550 because they were great prices. Got them set up, and the same thing again. The only thing at this point now in the computer that has stayed the same throughout this process is the graphics card. My last final ditch effort, because I knew something wasn't compatible here, because all of the parts were working, I was getting to the desktop and I was able to do some things, except put the PC under load, which was the weird thing, but it was to change the motherboard again, but this time I went for an Asus Prime X570 board because it matched the original motherboard that I was using in the first place during the original mid-range gaming video. Now, I got this board secondhand from eBay, didn't come in a box or anything like that, but I did get it for a good price, which was the attractive thing about it. And what do you know, the PC is now working. And I've been benchmarking some games on it for the past week now. But the interesting question to ask is, what's really the difference here? Well, the CPU power has 12 pins now, while the B550 only had 8, I suppose. Maybe the CPU wasn't getting enough power. I just don't know. BIOS update on the B550 was needed, maybe. I mean, sure, it could have been that. but I didn't want to risk starting a BIOS update only for the PC to completely power down while doing it and just completely brick the motherboard. So anyway, sorry about the intro to this video. I know it was a bit of a long one there. I just wanted to catch you all up with the journey that I have been on with this mid-tier gaming PC. So what's inside now? Well, I've got a Ryzen 5600 processor and 32GB of RAM sitting on top of an Asus Prime X570 motherboard. I've got a simple Wraith cooler keeping the thing nice and cool. It's got a 3060 Ti, 1TB M.2 storage, and some lovely colourful fans which can be used with Asus's software in a nice case with a tempered glass side. Now for a mid-range build, I think it really came out looking quite nice. I don't like the rainbow colored RGB. I'm gonna have to get that changed for a solid color, but better yet, it absolutely smashed through some 1080p games. Now check them out now. So first up, we have some Apex Legends where the average FPS is coming in at around 230. The frame rate though is darting all over the place, I will say, depending on where you are, whether you're inside or outside. The FPS 1% low is at 136 FPS, but overall at a 1080p very high graphics preset setting, this game played absolutely wonderfully and so smoothly. So if you're after a mid-tier PC like this one, you'll have no problem running Apex Legends. Now, Arc Raiders was pretty surprising at 1080p on a high graphics preset, a little bit of ray tracing in there as well, but obviously DLSS running. Coming in with an average frame rate of 99 FPS with a 1% low of 55. This game at 1080p on a mid-tier gaming PC is absolutely playable. It played really well. And unfortunately, I didn't see much action on this run except running into a small robot in a corridor, which was easily dispatched. But yeah, if you're after playing a bit of Arc Raiders, you're not going to be disappointed here. Now, of course, I did have to include Battlefield 6 in this video because it is brand new after all and pretty much taken the gaming world by storm at the moment, but having an average FPS of 78 with an FPS 1% low of 48 is a pretty decent score at a 1080p resolution with a high graphical preset on there. Now, the game looks absolutely stunning. It played really smoothly as well, and as you can see, there were no issues running around a Battlefield. I did try to stay alive as long as possible just to get a continuous clip for you to watch, but which meant I didn't run into any enemies, and I did hide away from a tank over there in the distance. But trying to capture point A, I did unfortunately run into some enemies here, which quickly took me out before I could get over to rescue my teammate there. But yeah, average FPS at 78 with a 1% low of 48 is stunning. Now, I have tried playing Borderlands 4 on the Steam Deck, which didn't unfortunately go very well whatsoever, but here on this mid-tier build, the average FPS was coming in at 43 with a 1% low of 37. Now, I know that the game is pretty demanding. It hasn't been very well optimized. It has been picked up before that even some of the highest, most powerful PCs out there struggle to run this game at a decent frame rate, but as you can see, it was playing relatively well today. A quick bit of Counter-Strike 2. We're not going to hover around this game for too long. As you can see, the average FPS at over 200. This game was just easily playable. Again, at 1080p on high graphics preset settings. It played smooth, looked great, and yeah, what more do you want from Counter-Strike 2, really? Absolutely solid experience. Now, I know we are getting on a little bit with Doom Eternal, seeing as Doom the Dark Ages is out now, but seeing as I had it installed on this PC, I thought I'd give it a test. The average FPS coming in at 99 with a 1% low of 83 FPS was, I think, a very, very good score. That is at 1080p on the Nightmare graphics preset. It looked really, really good, really bright and vivid, nice and smooth. I should have really tested some Dark Ages, but yeah, I didn't have it installed, and I don't think there's between them will be a huge difference. Now, unfortunately, I did completely miss that that bar there to grab onto, but yeah. The FPS average has increased just above the 100 mark, which is good to see. And overall, if you are looking at this as a single player experience on a mid-tier PC, you're not going to be disappointed. So diving into a bit of Fortnite, I found myself with a bit of action, but the FPS average was still sitting around the 150s and a 1% low of 72 FPS, which is absolutely amazing to see. This is at 1080p at a high graphical preset. Overall though, Fortnite is an incredibly playable experience with a mid-tier gaming build like this one. Now, the thing with Helldivers that I absolutely love is the fact that this game just seems to work. I was playing it at 1080p at a high graphics preset again, and it was hitting an average FPS of 81 with a 1% low of 67 FPS. There was a little bit of action going on the screen. I was playing on medium difficulty, so there wasn't a huge amount going on, but I can easily say that if you are playing it on the harder difficulty modes where a lot more action is taking place, then it's still going to be a playable experience at 1080p on a mid-tier gaming build like this. And I thought, why not include a bit of Overwatch 2? We know that it runs on an absolute potato at this point, but the average FPS was coming in at 99 with a 1% low of 26. I was playing a bit of deathmatch here. As you can see, not doing very well, but it gives you an example of what you can expect with Overwatch 2. So all in all, what a disaster to begin with, but a good bit of news to end there. Now, I wasn't sure I'd be starting this whole process again because I was just so deflated with all of the issues that I was having with the original mid-tier PC, but I am just so happy that I stuck with it. So yeah, what's the plan moving forward, I suppose? Well, flipping PCs, but please don't judge me. This is 100% an anomaly. I think my PCs usually do work fine. And also I have got a spare M80X case sitting here waiting to go just in front of me, so I do look forward to starting the next build. But before you go, let us know what you thought about the new PC in the comments, what you thought about this video, and we will see you in the next one, hopefully with a much shorter intro.